My name is Takia. I'm 18 years old and I'm vision impaired. I'm making this because I want to do a continuation of part 1 of my documentary, which you can find on my YouTube channel at Takia Langston. And the main reason why I want to do this is to show people that even though I'm vision impaired and have a lot of health problems, that I'm still normal. I can do everything everybody else can do. And also just to educate and show people that might be going through something similar that somebody is here that understand, and if I can do it, you can do it too. Some of the things that I can do normal is pick out my clothes, do my lipstick in the morning, I can separate my medicine, and even sometimes I can walk alone. Even though sometimes I might need a little help, I can still do it independently. Some of the health issues that I had dealt with and overcame was my GI issues. So I was in the hospital for a week or two because I could not go to the bathroom and it was getting deadly. So we had to go to the hospital constantly because I haven't been in a year. Also, I also used to get pneumonia every single year, and it used to be to the point that I couldn't move. And that caused me to miss a lot of school and also became homeschooled. I had 36 eye surgeries, and then I also had 4 oral surgeries. And the main reason why I had my oral surgery to start was because I went to the dentist in 2015 and found out that none of my baby teeth had fell out, so they needed to be pulled. The plan was to pull 2 teeth per month, and that's what we signed off and agreed to. Well, it didn't end up that way. The doctor did not medicate me, they didn't give me anesthesia, laughing gas, or numb me, and they pulled 18 teeth at one time. I felt everything, and my mom was not allowed in the room. I was crying and screaming because I felt everything, and I felt hopeless because it was just me and this man in a room, and he was torturing me for over an hour, and I couldn't do anything. A couple months later, it led up to PTSD, medical PTSD, and I was properly diagnosed in 2015, the same year, about 5 months later. And what happens when I go to the doctor now, it kind of is like a disaster. It's a mess. So every time I feel threatened, intimidated, or scared, it lash out. And it's not like I fuss or I cuss you out. It get physical, and it can be very bad. And a lot of people think PTSD isn't real, and it is. And I want a lot of people to know, like, I can't help how I feel or how I react. And a lot of people think that I go in and I think, oh, I'm gonna punch this person today, or I'm gonna throw this today, and that's not how it is. Usually I go in there calm, and I can be calm 1 minute and then it totally change the next minute. So the fix this, they now give me a pink medicine to help me calm down. It knocks me out in like a minute. And now when we go to the doctor, my mom has to wear sweatpants, a t-shirt, and some sneakers because a lot of times we already know what might happen. And a lot of doctors now either refuse to work with me or keep things out of reach because they know that I might throw it. And that is how I got my PTSD and how it affects doctor's appointments. I have PTSD, but I also have an eating problem, and I got that in 2017. What happened was I was home alone, and it was late at night, and I decided to eat something, and I choked on it. When I choked on it, nobody was here to help me. My brothers was asleep, my mom was gone, until after I finished choking. I called my mom and she hurried back home. And I spent the whole night in her room just crying. So the next day, that feeling of me choking was still there. It didn't go away. So I was constantly like telling her like I'm still choking. She was like, no, if you was choking, you wouldn't be able to breathe or talk. And I just couldn't make her understand like the feeling that I was feeling. So I stopped eating. I stopped drinking, I stopped talking, I stopped singing, I stopped listening to music. I just cut everything at once because nothing was helping me. Every time I ate, it hurt. So even though I stopped eating and drinking, that led up to me losing 35 pounds in 2 weeks, which was deadly because I was already small and then I became underweight. I became 70 pounds in 2 weeks. And they kept telling my mom if I didn't eat, I would die in a couple months. And I would not eat. I refused to eat because it hurt so bad. And nobody could understand. We did MRIs and CAT scans and blood work. We checked thyroids just to make sure like what it was. And when the doctors didn't see anything on the test, they was like, oh, she's making it up. Oh, she's crazy. Oh, it's mental. But it wasn't mental. So because they thought it was mental, they put me in therapy, which did not help me at all. They also put me in food therapy, which did not help me. It actually pushed me away farther from food because they took the hardest food for me to eat and they told me to eat it first. They told me I didn't have a choice or I was getting a feeding tube and I wasn't gonna let that happen. So I started drinking chicken broth and I ate jello and mashed potatoes, and that was the only thing I was eating, and applesauce. But I only ate it in baby food form in the stage 1 because it was thin enough. It still hurt, but it didn't hurt as bad. So after I moved to applesauce, I went to mac and cheese and smoothies. They had me drinking 8 protein drinks a day to try to keep my weight up, but it was doing the opposite. It was making my weight go down. So I went from a size 0 in women to a size 6 in kids in less than a month. And they kept telling my mom that like she's gonna die if she don't eat, and I couldn't let that happen. So the only way that it got me to eat was my mom. I started eating for my mom so I could still live and be around for her. So I did it for her because I didn't want her to see me die. And what it feels like when I eat is when you take a belt and you pull it to the last hoop. That's what I feel every single day. Even to this day, that's what I feel. And it's sad because the doctors can't help me. And they say that I'm crazy. And it's something in my brain that's just making me think that way. And I want attention. And that's not what it is at all. Okay. So in December of 2019, I found out that my eye pressure was so high that I was gonna lose my vision if I didn't have a surgery. But I rejected that surgery 4 times before I actually decided to do it because in my previous surgery they messed up and I lost my vision. And so it kind of scared me, like, okay, I'm not gonna let them do it because I'm not gonna lose my vision again. They're not gonna do that to me again. So I was kind of like scared. I was scared. So I pushed it back, and then when we went to a different doctor around January, and they said the same thing, like you need to have a surgery to remove the pressure. And I was like, no, it's not gonna happen. They was like, well, we can do it in May. And so they put me on the medicine to bring that pressure down temporarily. but the medicine wasn't bringing the pressure down like it was supposed to. So then they told me the effects of me taking that medicine long term. And they were saying like I'm gonna lose my vision if I don't have the surgery. So I was like, well, if I'm gonna lose the vision if I don't have my surgery, then okay. But then they was also saying I could lose my vision if I did have the surgery. So I was just like, what's the point of me having the surgery if I'm gonna lose my vision anyway? So I still pushed it back. So it was around June, and they was like, you have to have a surgery. It's not a choice. And I was like, it's my choice, and I don't want to have it. And then my mom, she talked to me and she was like, okay, we're going to do everything you want to do before you had a surgery, just in case. So we scheduled the surgery, and it was supposed to be on my birthday, July 13th. But I won't go let that happen. So we made that to July 15th. But before I had my surgery, I made music. Because that's something I wanted to do. I love music. It makes me happy. It's like my escape, my safety place. So I made music and I released it on my birthday. And then the 15th, I went to have my surgery. Good morning, everybody. It is July 15th. Today is surgery day. I'm going to try my best to take you guys with me so you can see what goes on before and kind of after the surgery. So we about to head out now and go to Duke University, and I'll see you guys there. And so it's a pink medicine they give me, and it's supposed to calm me down and put me to sleep.
And we're gonna see how long it takes for you to be out. How long you think?
I never remember.
I'm gonna say by 12:45 you'll be smoked.
What time is it?
12:30.
Maybe.
Glasses are off. You sure take your glasses off? You don't want to finish playing your game until you fall asleep?
No, because I don't want to drop my phone.
I'm talking about on your tablet.
Oh no, because I don't want to drop that either.
Anything.
Remember last time my tablet dropped?
That was the doctor's office.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to say to your followers?
No.
No rainbow hair. Too bad we couldn't put on the rainbow hat. Okay, well, tell them bye.
Bye. Like, in a minute. But it didn't work. Some reason, that time, it did knock me out, so I panicked. So I just started crying, and all of that, and then it was like, okay, it's still time for surgery. And I was like, the medicine don't work yet. And so a lot of doctors don't understand when my medicine don't work, it's gonna be a disaster. And that's what it was. I said goodbye to my mom, and I went in the operating room and I lost it. Absolutely started doing things, started hitting people. They even told me that I told them I was gonna kill them. But I don't remember that stuff because I block out when I lash out. It's like a blank. When I blink out, I know something bad happened. So they called my mom to the operating room and was like, we need you to come calm her down. They called her on the phone and was like, we need security. We need Tykea's Langston mom to come in here because she making death threats. And so she came in there, and what happened was they gave me another dose of that pink medicine, and it knocked me out. Then we had the surgery.
Hey, Takia. It's your mom. Everybody's standing in the hallway waiting for you to come through. She's coming down the hallway in a minute.
But before the surgery, I picked out 7 outfits with the shoes to match. Because usually it takes a week before you get your vision back. So I picked out my outfits and I put it somewhere so my mom can find them.
Hey, Takia. You did it. You did a good job, man. This is you coming out of the recovery room. So, Takia, this is you after the surgery. You've been out for about 20 minutes now. You're in the recovery room. We're just waiting for you to wake up. Can you hear me? You know I'm recording you, like you said. Still feel very sleepy. You'll probably be sleeping all night. You hungry? Right. You hungry? Takia. Takia. You hungry? You don't know? The doctor say you can eat whatever you want to eat tonight. You have a patch on your eye like when you were small, but it come off tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock, okay? Alright? Okay, I'm going to start recording for a minute, okay? You made it to the chair, Takia. One step closer to going home, okay? I know you want to go home. We'll go home soon, okay? Now you got to put the mask back on. Alright? Nice and happy. Always know it. Okay, Takia, now you're back at the hotel. Still recording, but your battery about to die, and I don't know where your charger is.
So the next day after surgery, it was time for the checkup, and the doctor was saying like I should be able to open my eyes, I should be able to see, but I couldn't open my eyes and I couldn't see.
Trying to open your eye. Is this the first time you're trying to open it? You're doing good. I see it. That's as far as it can go. It still got stuff on it. It's swelled up too. But you gotta remember, so it's almost like
I feel it.
you feel it?
It's like in my pupil.
Right, it's like a little pipe in your eye now. Remember they were saying like a sink, it drained the fluid? That side of your face swelled up.
Right here.
You'll still hurt by your jaw?
Right here. This bone.
Just that bone right there?
I think the tape is hurting my jaw.
They, you know why that bone probably hurt because it had something to hold your eye open with. Because it had to be held wide open so they can get in there, you know?
That's what she learned my face.
Well, you still got your makeup on or so. Can you see the sunlight a little bit? When you open it a little bit?
A little.
Each day it get better and better. Okay? Tell them bye for now.
So I didn't tell my mom, but automatically I was like, uh-oh, something went wrong. Which it did. They never told me, but it did. Because now, a couple months later, I still don't have my vision. I only see color. So my mom is picking out my outfits. She's taking me everywhere I need to go, guiding me. She's fixing my food and all that stuff. And I'm not used to that. I'm used to being independent. Even though I was, yes, vision impaired and I needed some help, but I always saw good enough to pick out my clothes, to fix my food, to see the timer. And we went back to the doctor and it was like, oh, it's nothing wrong. It was nothing to do with the surgery, so we don't know why you lost your vision. And that made my point of me not having the surgery. And so I absolutely told them, this is why I do not trust doctors at all. They can't help me. They always make things worse. And I'm not saying that's for everybody, but for me, that's what it was. So now I I basically depend on my mom, and I don't like it at all. Even though like she says she don't mind, I don't like it because I like being independent. I like doing what I like to do, go wherever I want to go, and I can't do that right now. So to get my mind off of it, I throw myself in work, constantly working. So whether it's with my ice cream truck or making music, modeling, it's always something to keep my mind off of the fact that I lost my vision. So for my 18th birthday, all I wanted was an ice cream truck, and that's what I got. So in August, my ice cream truck was completely done. So in September, I had my grand opening, and I made sure that I can do everything. I can find the ice cream, I can find the snacks, and I did that by color coding. So my faces was in an orange container, my eclairs was in a green container, my ice cream sandwiches was in a yellow container, my cookies was in a clear container, and then also I had my uncle, he put in colored padding in the floor so I can tell where the floor is, where the shelf is, and he also built a little crate in the back so I can put their drinks and find the drinks so I can see them, and I have them in a specific order so I can find them. So with the ice cream truck, I try to book as many events as much as I can, even weekdays, weekends. So in the month of September, I had about 20 different events, and I absolutely love it. Always love giving snacks and stuff. Even when I was in school, I was selling snacks secretly because you weren't allowed to do that. But I was selling snacks, and then I was like, this is what I want to do. So I had an ice cream truck. On top of having the ice cream truck, I also started my clothing line, and that started in 2017. So my name of my clothing line is By the Way, and it's spelled Bitheway, and I spelled it Bi because in my school a lot of people with the LGBTQ plus was treated wrongly, and I didn't think it was fair. So I made my brand based around them to show them that somebody cares. I'm not judging because I don't care. Like, that's you, that's your life. So I accept that, and I didn't have a problem with it. All of my friends was LGBTQ plus. So I made that for them, and they was loving it, so it became my clothing line. But By the Way actually wasn't supposed to be a clothing line. It was actually supposed to be a club name because I wanted to open a club. But then I made a clothing line behind it because I was like, more people can wear it and stuff like that, and so that's how I got into that. And with my clothing line, I also found out that I like to model. So I started doing celebrity outfit lookalikes, and I would take a picture and create that same exact picture, that same exact outfit, maybe not the makeup but the outfit. And I started loving it, so I kept doing it, and I kept doing it, and I kept doing it. And that's what made me happy, because I realized that I don't need my vision that great to take pictures. And so when I do find a picture, a lot of times it's a bright color so I can tell what it is. And if I can't tell what it is, I use a voiceover app, and it describes what it is. And then I match it. I find it on Amazon or Walmart.com, and I'll make $1,000 outfit with $150. So even though I had businesses, I also made a huge accomplishment, and that is graduating. Graduating was a big deal, but not really a big deal. It was a big deal because I made it, but I wasn't into walking and all of that stuff. I wasn't into that. But graduating was a big deal because to me, it was like I'm showing every single person who told me I couldn't do it that I did it. And I did it with honors. And a lot of people didn't believe that I can do it. A lot of people thought, oh, she wasn't in school, she's vision impaired, so that makes her stupid. And that's not what it is. And a lot of teachers did me wrong, like wrong, like try to fail me on purpose, wrong. But I just took that energy and made it into something positive, and I made it keep me going. I made it a reason to work hard. So I always had A's and B's. It was nothing less, just to show them that I'm not stupid. Just because it's something wrong with my eyes, it's nothing wrong with my brain. And a lot of people get that confused, and I want them to know that that's not it. So I graduated, and after graduation, I moved into business. Like, that was full time what I was doing. Is ice cream truck, modeling, clothing line, and I also started music. Music was a huge thing in my life. Always, I always loved to sing, and like, so I met a person, and he was like, "You should make your own music." So that's what I started doing. I started writing. In the middle of the pandemic, I wrote 18 different songs, and I recorded one, released it, and it's doing great. So now I'm working on making an EP, and then also with the EP, I want to make music videos to it. Also want to get a lipstick line, and maybe some sneakers, maybe some bright color sneakers. And I want to show everybody that just because you have a disability, you can still do whatever you want to do. There's no limits, and if somebody try to set that limit, push it, because you can do anything and everything.